first time I remember that I saw injustice in its ugliest form was when I was 13 years old, and I was at an Army cadet camp in Borden, Ontario. And it was towards the end of the camp, and I was the leader of 150 peers of mine in Foxtrot Company. And if you've ever been to camp, you know that it's chaos, and especially around meal times, things are just, it's loud, it's noisy, it's hot in these tents, and there's conversations going on, and people are just going to and fro. And I remember this boy, and I remember him because he had glasses that were so thick, I've never seen such glasses before. And I remember he was standing in this like chaotic state of people eating and almost like this like frenzy of like friendships going on, and he's asking people where his friends are and if they've seen Foxtrot Company and where his lines are eating. And I remember these boys were just being completely inappropriate and saying, "Hey, I'm over here, can't you see me?" And "Hey, Four Eyes, we're over on this side." And I remember watching all of this, and I remember no one doing anything. And I struggled because like the fear inside of me was like, wow, if you stand up, like people are gonna associate this awkward situation and you're in it. And I remember Mom and Dad always would, teach Andrew and I, my brother, that it's always best to love other people, and they'd always like tell us these awesome stories of like one of the greatest warriors of advocacy, and that was Jesus. And I remember I just like walked up to this guy and I was like, "Hey, I'm your buddy, you're with my company, and how about we just go over here and we have lunch?" And I remember we had a wonderful lunch, and I don't even remember what we talked about. I remember just being in tune with what he had to say, and he just kept talking. And I can't even remember his name, but I remember this situation. I remember the insults that were being thrown around, and I remember no one saying anything, and I remember this like quietness as these boys were tormenting him, and just the look of panic on his face when he was looking around trying to find people that he can just befriend to get out of that situation, and no one stood up. And I'm thankful that I did, because that propelled me to look at advocacy in a completely different way. And now 15 years after that, I'm still advocating for people that I stand up for, that I believe, and that I feel like they need a voice. And it's time now for Canadians to engage in a discussion about what it means to be a victim of crime. And Freedom Walk is going to be that open platform where people can engage across this country and discuss how injustice deteriorates our societies, how it ruins our community, and how it breaks our social fabric apart. And we're going to be more than happy to discuss this with you. We want to let you know that being a victim of crime is only perpetualized when you're in the process of the justice system and you continually get re-victimized through the entire process. You're isolated, you're depressed, you're lonely. It's unbelievable to fathom what a victim goes through. I can't pretend to know. I can't begin to imagine. And I won't deny the fact that they have a pain that thankfully I've never felt. But as a police officer, as a fellow human being, and as an advocate, it's important that we start to engage these things as Canadians, because what you can do and what I can do is very impactful. Our words matter, and the fact that we have a voice and we can share that voice with victims of crime is what's going to make this a big difference in Canada. And your efforts, along with the efforts of the Freedom Walk team, I think we're really going to make an imprint on the hearts and minds of Canadians. And the journey for justice is going to be that step that is going to continue to go way after our final steps are finished. And it's just going to propel itself into the new generation of young people just standing up for what is right and not being afraid and gripped by fear to stand up and say, that is wrong. And here's where we're going to go from there.